Okay. Hello, everybody. This is me, Francisco, here for Sports Goofs number 221. I'm joined by my good buddy Charles here. Andrew's not here just yet. He's gonna pop on. I don't know, maybe he's eating dinner or something like that. He's wrapping something up for work. I have no idea, but it's just me and Charles for now, and well, we're kind of used to that a little bit. So I don't know. We can kind of delve into some gaming talk and whatever while Andrew's not here. That way we don't annoy him too much, huh, Charles?
Well, hi everybody. He's not going to be able to kind of control the tempo and control the combo if he wants to do anti-gaming when, because we be playing some games, man. We be playing some games. It's part of the thing. I've been playing a lot of games. Fun stuff, but sports wise, you had the All-Star game? That stuff doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. Forget about it.
I added on the topic for our show today, but
but because my opinion on it, it's the same equivalent about how I feel about Hall of Fame. So it's a topic, sure, but I'm talking about like what we can talk and not talk about with him in that sense. And then basketball, there's things we'll maybe touch on it, and then hockey, I got nothing. Even though I'm playing NHL 26 in the background.
Off-season, so then cover athlete for NHL 27 is Macklin Celebrini. Maybe Andrew has some comments about that, but yeah, it's slow part of the season right now for everybody.
I was originally going to offer starting with the cage just to do a quick rundown, but then I realized my collective
quite a while.
There's too much, man. I'll give you I feel like we should just do it now since we're here.
I don't mind. You want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it. Get my whole thing. So ready, 1, 2, 3, as people stare at me. Welcome everybody to your weekly return to the Trueplex, the cage with Charles. Remember, wrestling is not fake. It is stage. It's scripted. It's a song and dance. It's poetry in motion. It is essentially all things I want to be until it is bad. It's been really, really just unconforming for your boy coming into it. Originally it was supposed to be about chasing championships, promos, men and women being the holy hell of each other, chasing, establishing their legacies, doing it for pride. And now I'm stuck with one company doing everything for cinema and for the aura moments. And I got another company doing it for the anime moments. I feel like I should talk about it.
Andrew's in, right? Andrew, you here?
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Finally showed up.
Yep, we're doing the cage here, so it's been a long minute, and Charles wanted to get into it now. It's also it's the slow part of the year for sports. Obviously, the SVs happen. I didn't watch that, but it's a slow part of the year for sports. So it's also been a while since Charles did update us on the wrestling world, and things have happened, both good and bad, in and outside of the ring. For wrestling, but of course that's every year, I guess, now with the way things have been snowballing. But yes. So he's already done his intro.
And it's been a minute since I did the intro. I think I landed it for the most part. I probably forgot bits of it, but it's not longer really a weekly Triplex. It's as I want it, when I want it, Stranger Things level. It's just, guys, there's just too much wrestling. And I told you this was going to happen eventually, many years ago, when WWE was trying to produce whatever they could to the Masters, and then AEW was going to gratefully open up with more pay-per-views, because if you remember, it used to be just 4 pay-per-views a year for the first 2-3 years, and now it's just they got pay-per-view next week, and then there's stuff that's coming in all out in August, and then all out in September, and I'm like, all right, man, the brain can only comprehend so much that we're doing. And it's also about the vessel communication. So I think, because I could spend forever on this, I don't want to spend forever on it because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But also, wrestling's kind of annoying, right? It's kind of like talking about the broke baby daddy or baby mama that they're part of your life because they're father or mother to your child, but they don't do much for you. You can remember the good times, you can enjoy some of the products, but then you kind of remember well, you call me the slave. What do you need? And that's what it feels like, because no matter what, both of the companies, and we're not even talking about New Japan, even though they've been doing some good stuff, and some of the other brands, they all want your money, It's just you're gonna get different kinds of like pleasures from the money that you give. So essentially, we're now just calling wrestling hookers, right? Um, but I digress. So, what's the headache that we want to talk about? So let's just go with WWE because I know that's how we always kind of start the show. The state of Raw and the state of SmackDown, as I pause this controller, there's times where it's good, and a lot of pay-per-views have come by, including the big one that was WrestleMania, and that was just awful because remember they switched over to ESPN's doing the pay-per-views, and you guys are going to say, Charles, you're paying $30 for ESPN subscription to pay-per-views? Absolutely not. You got to pay me. I don't even think we did the Royal Rumble either because we've been off for a long time.
Yep.
So we skipped out in January. It's not that I did it for just that, but I already do Hulu and Disney Plus. So in my mind, and I can survive with ads. In my mind, I'm like, oh, you mean I'm only paying $13 for everything ESPN Plus related, or whatever they call it, to include wrestling and baseball. So I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll cancel it at some point, probably in August, because I can go back to Disney and Hulu being, ad free. But guys, I'm 36. I don't care about ads on TV. I can handle it. The current people whose ADHD or is just too much, or they're just impatient because they have everything that's ad free. It's good for you guys. You want to pay more. I wouldn't pay $45 for a complete bundle of 3 platforms, but I typically use Hulu a lot. I use Disney Plus enough, and then for the wrestling, I'll take 13 because everything beats paying $50 back in the day. So WrestleMania was awful. There was like 3 matches that kind of saved it. Of course, Seth versus Gunther was fantastic. The ladder match for the Intercontinental title was good, very good. Had to retain that. And then Roman versus CM Punk was, as predicted, excellent. And people have their opinions on Roman. I don't care. I don't care what they say on Twitter. Follow us on the Twitter, everybody. Charles the True, Sports Stash, Goofs, Dan Frijoles, FJOJR, or Junior, whatever you want to call it. There's so much Marlins historian, Panthers historian, whatever Andrew's got going on. He's still saying he's not Pegasus Knights or whatever, but I don't believe him. So one of you guys, if you do listen, will recover to it. But everybody has their opinions on it. But the reason why the state of it's just been bad, because we got SummerSlam building up. If I feel like it, we'll get into SummerSlam groove. I'm just going to talk about the issues of it. CM Punk's back. He beat Sami Zayn for the title. Sami had beat Cody and Gunther in a triple threat in Saudi at Night of Champions, which was great. I watched that match. It was a fantastic match, in my opinion. And the surprise was great because I'm a Sami boy, and I knew that was going to, be done real quickly because I thought Cody was going to win it back, but they gave it back to Punk. So I'm like, fine. I just had to put that interjecting there because that was a feel-good moment, even though it was short-lived, and it just means a lot for Sami. Because remember, belts are props, belts are gimmicks. It matters to a degree for people's legacies because they've been doing it more. But it's like giving yourself a round of applause and people giving you high fives as you succeed, right? The high five doesn't have a monetary value when you're a transitional champion or a mailman, as the wrestling icons would say, but it has some importance of it. But the thing is that, as you heard me say, they're focusing too much on cinema. WWE, under TKO's supervision with ESPN around, they're focusing too much on cinema. They're focusing too much on what they think is big money matches or entertainment or, what was the word I want to use? Aura. I feel like that word gets overused so much in the wrestling world. So also like how slop is overused on Twitter. Just coming
I was about to say that, like wrestling slop or something like that.
Yeah, well, just slop in general. And I'm like, slop feeds you. People forget it. Like, you choose to eat it. So you're undercutting something that's of need to a degree because it's just the lowest nutritional value, but I digress. It's just what they're trying to do. And I was just texting my buddy about it, who, when you have wrestling fans who have when people and you're there and you can have all different times. I've always told you, how do you like your wrestling? It's the same way of how do you like your pizza? How do you like your sandwiches? How do you dress up a burger? And we're really kind of breaking it in today. And I will save everybody time, but it's just with WWE, it's legitimately oh, we want to tell you what entertainment is by giving you the same 4 to 6 people all the time. And you're just going to like it. We're going to eat up that TV time. And you got 3 hours of Raw. You got 2 hours of SmackDown. That's going to become 3 hours, later on in the year. And then you're just propelling a lot of the same people when you have a roster. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be on my pay-per-view. Do I wish the pay-per-views were longer? Sure. But you know what? As somebody who just kind of uses it as void throughout the day, I can live without it. I can live with it. It's whatever. But they don't really make me want to even keep the support of the people you have if you keep reheating the nachos, as the kids say. So Punk winning the world title was a great thing because Ysep had hurt his shoulder all those months ago. And then he had some great feuds coming into it, just everything, whether it was short or long. He was the old man Logan kind of vibe. Roman winning the belt from him at Mania. We knew he just was not going to defend as often. He defended twice against Fatu. The first match was great. Second one, I had to rewatch it at some point or, care to rewatch it at a juncture. He hasn't done anything there. And now him and Seth are going to go because this is the problem. They want to tell you what is supposed to be the great stuff instead of it letting it happen. And with these prolonged matches of like Roman being a champion and you don't get much of wordplay, it's kind of tough because you're telling me Roman's not going to defend title in between those months from the last time you had Fatu, and then you have it in August. And funny enough, it's like in the first week of August. So I'm in DC for a work event. So it's like, I'm not going to be able to watch it, which is kind of annoying to a degree because I kept just bringing my laptop, but I'm a quick in and out. So I thank you guys for reminding me that. But that's the whole thing. You're giving me Roman and Seth. You're telling me this could be the last time story. But then you're purposely putting the belt on Punk because you feel the bigger story for that title instead of Sammy doing whatever. Is that not Seth, but Cody and Punk, because that's who going to challenge Punk at SummerSlam. It's the biggest story. Sure, if you want to believe that, but when you consider in a calendar year, Cody beat Roman for the title about like 2 years ago, right? But if you consider for the calendar year, Cody has lost and won the belt multiple times because he's now a 3-time WWE champion. Because while we were off the air, Cody lost it to Drew. And like wherever, I don't even remember, before Mania, he won it back. And so now he gets another title shot and then another title shot. And it's like, what are we doing here? And you already kind of ruined the script with Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, and maybe I'll talk about it. I know it's just they want to really like focus on these same 4 people. I couldn't even tell you who matters in the women's division, and I'm a big proponent of that, right? I think the women have at times gone beyond what the men are giving me, and like Liv Morgan hasn't defended her title. She was in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Why? She's already a champion. The story they were trying to put behind it was like, oh, so she could try to challenge the other champion, and then gives the Io Sky, and then the women's mid-card titles don't ever show up for the most part. Or the women's WWE championship for Rhea Ripley, she has a injured knee, and they don't know if they're going to vacate it or not. I don't know. And the tag team champions was that. And there was a bunch of releases as well. But the thing that stays the same is TKO, and to a degree, Paul, right? Identifies like these are the 4 guys that are going to make you want to tune in. Brother, I've been dealing with Seth Rollins for like 10, 11 years. I've been dealing with Roman for like 10, 11 years. Seth is always the performer. The character stuff comes and goes. Where Roman, before he became Brian Griffin with the nice veneers and the tribal tree. Mind you, I have like 3 or 4 of the shirts, but I like it. It worked. But the thing is, like, he's hitting that level. Is like, I don't even need you to have a world title. And the only reason why I'm okay with the slam match is not for the story, the cinema, the history of them and the Shield. It's because I know I'm going to get some good ring work out of it. That's all I care about, to a degree. You can build the story in the promos, but when the match is bad, it really just ruins everything. I'll give you the example. The Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton match at Mania. They were building into it. They had spent almost a year on it. I was loving it a bit. And then Vince McMahon, who still alive, guys, just take what you want with that commentary. Ruin that match and everything that came in between afterwards. It's like you still need a product that delivers because you can't see me with the quotation marks. It's cinema show. It's trailer park soap opera, and I love it. Some people have the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Love and Hip Hop, Love Island, Temptation Island. I got wrestling, but they don't really know how to coordinate to it. And then you're giving the same. And I like Punk enough now. Remember, I was always kind of like on the fence with him. I remember when he was in Ring of Honor days. I didn't really see him when he was in the first one WWE because that's why I took the break. I was watching stuff for the AEW. I thought him and a lot of the guys had good feuds because they were giving some good material and he knew how to orchestrate it. And we know that disaster case. And then when he came back to WWE, it worked out well. But like, you're giving it to him, you're giving it to Cody, who it really feels like you can't do anything to find this man without a title, even chasing the title. And you're kind of like, I'm hitting that wall. I've been hitting that wall. I don't care much for Cody. I know the in-ring work's good, but I just don't. And the torn pec is probably what, prevented that dilution of importance for him. in the first go around because a lot of stuff would have been accelerated. But you're giving me the same 4. And Q and point, it feels very anime-ish because we're going to talk about AEW in a second, where everything is like, if you watch Dragon Ball, Goku's got it. For those who like Jujutsu Kaisen, it's like Satoru Gojo, of course, has it. If it's Bleach, it's like, Ichigo's just going to get to go Tesho. It's fine. It's okay. I've been watching some anime to keep it up. Or Inuyasha's going to do Windscar. Take what you want, right? But we've been doing this for a long time now, guys. And what happens is, just like in those animes, I know Francisco does a lot of the slice live, and Andrew does watches whatever he wants. You keep focused on the main dudes, you're gonna get you're not even gonna get burnt out on it. You're gonna turn on it, and you're gonna be wanting to see what the other characters can do. And I want other wrestlers too top heavy. Yeah, I want too many. I want new blood. And like Sammy's reign, even though I know it was going to be short, the idea of wrestling it predicts, and we all fall into the same tactics of like, if I booked it, this is what I would do. And you can't do it, man. You just can't do it. You just can't do it, right? Because you're doing fan fiction without without the pen and paper. But it gets discouraging. And what strayed me away the first go around was that there was an alternative. That's one. And then because I was a WCW, WWF guy, and then, all that changed. And then all I saw in front of me was Cena and Randy Orton. And, I was like, I'm going to bail on that, because there was guys that I want to see that other belt on. And then there was weird years of the Ruthless Aggression era after Kurt Angle left and Brock Lesnar had left. And then all this stuff, it just became this, let's all flip-flop between those two with the titles. Every now and then get a Batista. We love Batista in this house. Triple H, and it's like the debate about Triple H is like, is he a good worker? If there's a sit match, it's fine. And then Edge, but I still remember Edge when he was just chasing the Intercontinental title and then the European title and all these other things, the tag titles. And I wasn't really there for his big singles run the first go around. And he comes back, he changed his style and he's over in AEW as tag champion. But that's the problem. I feel like it's just that you're ham-fisting it and you're not allowing me, you're feeding down these main 4, 5-ish, down my throat. And you're not even giving the opportunity to like new people on your show because you're not even displaying them, putting on wrestling. You're just getting more promo this and promo that. And it's just like, what's the point? And I don't watch Raw. I don't watch SmackDown. You guys know this. Raw's on Netflix. I have Netflix. I'm not watching it. I've got other stuff to do, like Clear Obscure, Expedition 33, and all these other video games. And SmackDown, I'm not watching wrestling on a Friday. You out of your mind. I'm doing something else. I ain't bar hopping that much anymore because my wallet going to get lighter each time. But Wild Wings used to have it, the one I used to frequent. But no, we can do that. I'll watch the World Cup before I watch SmackDown right now. Please. No, thank you. So I just can't do that. So right now, the state of wrestling is just, for WWE is very much like, I have to eat it to a degree as a fan, right? I can't rip my nose, spite my face, but don't tell me I got to eat it. And that's where my position comes in. I was going to do it anyway, right? But when you want to talk about slop, it does feel slop, right? To quote the kids. And then with AEW, there's a lot of stuff going on. They got Redemption next week. Kenny Omega beat MJF for the AEW World Championship, and we like both of those guys. And he's got Will Ospreay in, I think, All In Wembley. It was All Out's 1-2 because they always have it in sequence. And then I'm watching it. And my problem with AEW always stems from there's too many titles. There's just so many that they have. But WWE has the same thing too. But it's the problem with AEW is right now you have Kevin Knight challenging Kenny Omega. Kevin Knight, great wrestler, is the TNT champion challenging the AEW champion. I'm we've done this before. We do it. And there was a lot of title changes that happened when we were off air too. Darby Allin was a champion. He had beat MJF when MJF had beaten Hangman Page. And all this other stuff, there's just too much, and that's why I have to curate it. But the thing that me and my buddy were talking about is the other problem is that a lot of the same wrestlers blend together, and they have a lot of similar styles, even though they all do cool stuff. And I'm always entertained in the ring work. I just feel whether it's a pay-per-view or if I'm watching Dynamite, I do pop in Dynamite every now and then, just kind of keep up and everything, because I know I'm getting great ring work in those matches. But the idea of it is, I don't want to say this. Instead of watching a Lord of the Rings marathon, where it's a long, continuous story, and each one has an important fact that propels, and I'm talking about the matches and all the overall art. Bear with me if it doesn't make sense. Sorry, this is the only way my brain can go for it. It feels like a James Bond film, where there's just like no cohesion, and you can watch the series, but you could skip out on some of them and not miss out on anything, unless you're watching the Daniel Craig series, which we can have that debate if he's the best Bond or not. I say yes, but you can literally go and watch the marathon and see Octopussy, not counting it as a curse word, kids, and then just go see From Russia with Love, and has no impact. You can just get your fill and then skip the next movie to the next hope. If that makes sense.
Cohesion.
Well, because it's so like, because it's cohesion, but maybe on some of the individual stuff. But on the overall, if you give me a 7-10 match pay-per-view, a lot of the wrestlers kind of have similar styles or similar intensities that I can just go flip to something else. And then when I identify a star, like I'll give a great example, and this is not like flinging crap at any of the wrestlers, just a couple of names that come to mind. If I see Mark Briscoe in the conglomeration with like Orange Cassidy and, you know, Konosuke Takeshita's on there, I can never say the name right. And then Kyle O'Reilly, we love Kyle O'Reilly in the house. And they're going to do like a multi-team match against the Don Callis family. And I'm like, I don't care for the Don Callis himself, but, you know, he's a good heel. I'm like, okay, that might be a primer going on, sure. But then let's say on the same card, they might have another multi-man or multi-woman match or tag team match, however you want to break down. And it's like the same structure, maybe not the same stories, but I might pick one over the other because of the talent that's in there. It's the same way picking those Bond series. Like you're gonna do a Bond movie marathon, but you're like, you know what? If we skip maybe The Living Daylights with Timothy Dalton, we'll be okay. Or if we skip Die Another Day, the worst Bond movie, even though I do like Pierce Brosnan, you're not going to miss much. That's what it kind of feels like, because I could YouTube highlight it to a degree. So that's where kind of like the brain goes into it. And then last night, and maybe you guys will take this as not, and I like Will Ospreay. I know he's great. I like Kenny Omega. I know he's great. But they cut a promo, they do whatever, and the thing that Will Ospreay says to Kenny Omega, maybe this is a good time for interjection from you two, if you wanna give 2 cents into it, and it's the reason why I bring up like the anime stuff, is that in that promo, if I'm not mistaken, you know, Ospreay goes to Kenny Omega, is like, this is the first time that we can say this is the real life Goku versus Vegeta fighting it out. And it's so funny to me because you gotta be a real like wrestling nerd you gotta be a nerd to love wrestling, right? If we can say it in a term of infection, but also as a self-identity. But then we're bringing it like anime, and that's where we kind of feel like it kind of feels like a lot of the matches, because Will versus where Strickland happened, and a couple weeks ago at a pay-per-view, and the issue of it is like there was too many kickouts at once for the pulse and the adrenaline and the aura and stuff like that, but they did it like almost all the subsequent moves in like the final 5 minutes before it finally ended. And then someone has said like, man, it's like, are they just doing the beam battle clashes that were on the old Dragon Ball games? And that's what it kind of feels like. We're utilizing wrestling, and this is how I kind of feel like AEW degree is. We're utilizing wrestling to cosplay as manga or anime or, you know, the action, but it's not in an action. It's not Roadhouse anymore, right? It's getting like the high fantasy to a degree. Pretty soon we're gonna have like white mages and stuff, and then Self Revives casted. And I don't know if I go to, and I go to my buddy, I'm like, when's the last time you saw like a submission specialist? It was at Forbidden Door, and you guys know I don't care about the Forbidden Door pay-per-view 6 years later. The concept doesn't make sense. And it's like, how do you like your wrestling? And the thing is like both of them are kind of giving me nothing that I want. Because look, I know AEW's got a pulse, and I know I might be entertained for bits and pieces, but it feels like you're telling me I can skip my sides and I can just have my dessert with it. Sometimes I can just pick and choose. And then on the flip side to it, I'm getting when WWE is like, if you can't have your meat if you don't have any pudding, right? The Wall by Pink Floyd. And I don't want it, you know? So I'm just like dissatisfied, but I suffer for you all because you are still part of the fandom, right? We mentioned anime a lot. Trust me, there's times where anime or manga has like a slog. The kind of good or the very good but never great ones always have the slog. Oh, did you saw it? Yeah.
What?
And that's the anime.
Oh, well, I saw something. We'll get to that next. Yeah. But yeah.
But that's the thing where you get into funk with wrestling. We talk about it. I said it's not a business that thrives on 12 months at all. No matter what company, it's a lot of product, a lot of material. They have to go from there. Look, you know, someone who used to watch like General Hospital when he was younger, it happens to with soap operas because wrestling to me is a soap opera. That gives me a little bit of everything. It gives me the action. It gives me. They don't do romance anymore, which is fine in 2026. I think we're on for, but there was Macho Man Elizabeth, man. Like it was something, even though they were kind of hectic behind the scenes. It was still something, right? And you felt it. Comedies. I don't like comedy that much in my wrestling because no one's really because one, I had to be tailored to Vince McMahon thinking he was funny, and that man's not funny, right? And he used a lot of like sexuality and innuendos to try to be funny, and I didn't find it funny then. I don't find it funny now. And then like I think WWE's closest thing to funny is Danhausen, and I like Danhausen, but Danhausen I think is being very overutilized. Good for him. Make your money, please. Love you. But it's like you can tell when that candle is going to burn because the people are going to turn against it. And then there's some decent comedy AEW, but it's like comedy sometimes hit or miss. I don't care for like supernatural stuff, like crazy supernatural stuff coming into it because it's like at the end of the day we're paid to beat the hell out of each other. So if you gave me like even Fiend, rest in peace, Bay Riot, or like right now Leo Rush is doing the Blackheart kind of vibe, it's like just punch you in the face. You're in a ring, like there's only so many things you could subvert the expectations. It's not a horror film to a degree, unless it is like a spooky supernatural mid card or top card guy going after a low card person, right? I think it's just how you like it, but I always like to keep it as a purist where it's wrestling to trailer park soap opera, but also we all kind of want to go the distance, right? So the underdog story helps, but we also want to go to the distance and achieve accomplishments and championships. We all competed in some point of our lives in some kind of event that had a prize, right? At some capacity. Or to be, reading all these books for Scholastic to get a pan pizza. We're old, sorry kids. Or I was in debate when I was in high school, so of course makes sense, right? But there was always something. So I think that's easily transmittable to read and watch and view and go from there going to like this kind of structure as wrestling, and that's where you can feel a connection for it. I'm sorry, I just can't watch Temptation Island. I try. Can't do it. Sorry, kids. Survivor, can't do it. But it's just been like, and when I take the break, God bless the Twitter. We don't care for you, Elon Musk. You suck. But I love the platform for what I can do with it, just to get like all the stuff I need. But it's just disinterested is the very polite word, and that's all I'm gonna say about the cage. I think that's all I got for you. I took a lot of time. Sorry, but that's as much as I could give it.
I mean, just do it within a half hour, actually. 28 minutes, actually. So we're not counting the intros, so let's say 26 minutes. You were trying to condense half a year or actually more, I think, of wrestling news and everything. So that's pretty commendable, I think.
Which is tough because I'm a hater. You guys know I live and breathe it. I love being it. And, given the opportunity to hate on something, but I made the ultimate choice not to. But it was for the sake of hearing Andrew's dulcet tones in my ears.
How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Reevaluating my life of why wrestling has now made me sad when it used to make me happy.
God.
And I survived the Chris Benoit murders. There you go. What does that say? I stopped watching after a period of time with that, though, to be fair.
Jesus. Good Lord, man.
Well, that was tough. Imagine, I like Benoit. I knew there was stuff going on. And then he's like, oh, yeah, killed his wife and kids. I'm like, we don't like Benoit anymore. But that was like weird, you know what I mean? It's probably how people felt about R. Kelly, but then there's some people still seeking his pardon. Oof. Sorry, just saying.
I still need to hear the rest of Trapped in the Closet. I love Trapped in the Closet. And it's just so ridiculous. It's terrible. Listen. I know. Speaking of soap operas.
Literally. He just takes it so seriously. He does not believe that anything. He put his heart and soul into it. And if he only put his heart and soul into not being a piece of shit, the world would be a better place.
Yeah. Have you heard the Weird Al Yankovic version of that?
Oh, yeah.
Trapped in Drive-Thru. So, yeah.
Yeah. What's the crazy? Just I'll touch on it briefly. The fact that that he was able to use Black Dog by Led Zeppelin is insane. Jack Black had to do a whole, please, we beg you, let us use Immigrant Song for 15 seconds in School of Rock. They're notorious for not letting their music be licensed out, but I don't know, I guess only using Black Dog for 5-10 seconds, maybe that factored into a little bit. I digress.
Kashmir, if I could choose any song to be like my wrestling intro song, the first minute or the entire damn song of Kashmir would be the best like ring entrance song. For you guys care so much about Cult of Personality, great song as it is, but I'm telling you right now, you gave me Kashmir and you're that din 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 din, and I'm like, yeah. Because that's a walkout song, man. That's a walkout song for any sport, any combat sport,
and
for sure
for baseball, yeah.
It's just hard as hell, man.
Honestly, anything they put out is incredible. And I think, and this is weird to say that he's somehow underrated, but I think Keith Moon does not get enough love from the general public for just how incredible he was.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks that drugs got him so young. Happens to a lot of musicians, unfortunately.
Well, that kind of segues perfectly into what I kind of want to talk about. So, because variety show, right, Charles? So
are you going to talk about drugs?
Well, no, no, not that variety. In any case, no, just entertainment that we've been enjoying. Maybe kind of fleshing out the Frankly Frank here to all sorts of things, and you guys are frankly franking yourselves as well. Hope that's not a euphemism for something, but in any case,
we're gonna call you Freaky Frank for some of the stuff that you're gonna watch.
But
I don't know. It kind of seems weird to say that we're franking ourselves. That seems like we should censor that.
But in any case,
you man, Frank you.
I've been Charles was mentioning like a slog and everything like that, especially when it comes to anime. I started watching this one. It was on Netflix called Sakamoto Days.
Yeah.
So apparently it's a Shonen Jump anime. And at first I was getting with the premise of the show because I'm like, oh, okay, this seems like a nice little thing. And I was kind of getting into it. And yeah, it's about, Hitman and all that stuff. And I just got off of the first season of an anime I watched that was about a hitman turning into a middle schooler. But now, like, I'm 20 episodes in and it's 22 episodes long. I'm on the last episode of this first season, and I'm realized like it's a Shonen Jump anime and the story has completely changed from what it was initially at the beginning, and it's gone on to this whole thing where I'm just like, I don't know if I have the bandwidth to follow this for 500 episodes. So that's where like the slog comes into. That's why I could never get into an anime series that was that long at all. The closest I ever got was Pokemon, and even then I only watched like maybe the first 3 seasons worth of Pokemon. Like Heart was a red, blue, yellow, silver, and gold, and then that was as far as I could take it without real. I mean, obviously it's made for a much younger audience, so the storyline just kind of repeats itself for quite a while, but really couldn't get into a storyline that's that freaking long. So I think I don't know, man, unless they can try to wrap up that story, I don't think I'll have the mental capacity to go through all that. I felt the same way with like The Boys and Invincible, and like I don't know why my capacity for withstanding these storylines longer than 3 seasons is it's getting to me now. So maybe it's just about getting older. Maybe that's what it's about.
Yeah. It's about quality. But Andrew, he has a short abbreviated stay today, so he just want to get a topic real quick. But come back to the anime though, if we get a chance. But I don't know if we want to yield the floor to him with 42 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, what have you been enjoying, Andrew? How's the week been?
Not too bad, not too bad.
You watching anything?
I mean, watching the World Cup from afar. The new season of Quarterback is on
Funny
Netflix.
Thing is, I named this episode Argentinians because I think the world is starting to realize that Argentinians are a very special group of people.
I'll take that.
And there is a certain level of arrogance and self-importance that country puts upon itself, even though the only thing that they've ever actually been good at is soccer, and that's the only thing they've ever been good at. this whole thing with
they've also been good about not paying back debt. Okay.
So
and harboring I'm not going to say the word of the political party because I don't want us to get demonetized.
I mean, the U.S. does that. Oh shit! Sorry, too.
Yeah. Well, you didn't say the word. You didn't say the word.
They're just called MAGA now.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it's debatable. I'll just say that anyone who knows anything about history, you'll know what exactly I'm talking about. So
the boys in Brazil.
Yeah, man.
But I digress. The thing that I did want to get to, why I'm actually what I want to bring up, is Tom Dundon and the Stanley Cup.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I wrote this down in my phone because I did not want to forget this because I needed to talk about
this. Let me summarize it for you, Andrew, for an intro here. And that, the fun thing is that the Stanley Cup the NHL 27 cover athlete and all the new features for whatever are coming out for this year. It's Macklin Celebrini this year. Well deserved, by the way. Well deserved. I actually really do like his game, and obviously rising superstar with the San Jose Sharks. But someone made a joke of putting the NHL 27 Family Edition, and it was just Tom Dundon's family on the cover. So, but in any case, that goes towards the Stanley Cup. Obviously, one of the probably the most prestigious trophy aside from the one that people are fighting for and Argentina's only good at looking for with the World Cup. But yes, the Stanley Cup, one of the most revered trophies in all of sports. You win the cup, you get the privilege of having your name on there. Only 55 people every season get the chance of having their name etched into the Stanley Cup. And then within those 5 bands that are around the bottom of the cup, and then when those get filled, part of it gets taken off and then sent to the Hockey Hall of Fame for display for everybody there. Florida Panthers had the chance to have that twice, the Lightning 3 times. So I was talking about the Stanley Cup and 55 names on the cup. The Carolina Hurricanes had the privilege of having theirs etched for the second time in history now. But the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, who also owns the Portland Trailblazers, kind of took the privilege
and the Undertaker or the executioner of the Alliance of American Football. Let's not forget that.
And he has abused the privilege of having names etched into the Stanley Cup. And Andrew, I guess you can take the floor from here.
Sure. So Tom Dundon, I'm going to use up my curse word here. Fuck you. So
we ain't scared of you, buddy. You gonna beat me up in Portland? Go ahead.
What he did was the standard protocol is if you played half of the season of the regular season or at least one game in the playoffs, you get your name on the Stanley Cup. You can ask for exceptions from the NHL injured player, or they just missed the halfway mark, or certain important people in the front office, trainers, whatever. They give you if you're a player in the front office, you or the owner, you pretty much guarantee to get your name on the cup.
Staff.
And they have they give you a little bit of flexibility with some of them. Tom Dundon had his name on it, of course, but he put 6 of his whole family on there, his wife, his children. They used up 6 slots. That it's unprecedented. I looked it up.
So
this is the first time that family has been put on, a family of the owner has been put on it, where these family members didn't have some kind of role in the organization.
Yeah, so
they just probably took his money.
So and before you move forward, Andrew, I just wanted to make the point. So the Florida Panthers ownership group, it's Vinny Viola and Doug Seafood. Those are the two owners, and then Vinny Viola's family, his wife and his 2 sons. Okay, they are also part of the front office of the team, and so their names are on the Stanley Cup as well. But his oldest son, I think, is an alternate governor, and his youngest son is also on the team staff as far as front office is concerned. He was actually figurehead in the look of the Florida Panthers as far as their logos and everything, because he's a logophile, and I know that because I've conversed with him. So he loves baseball and all those types of things. But in any case, those guys, they're all part of the actual team organization, and 2, they're all adults. You forgot to mention one of the family members for Tom Dundon is a literal 7-year-old child.
What?
Right. So this is, billionaire is gonna billionaire. I get it. They love to, throw their weight around, things like that. I hate it, but it's how things are. It's the nature of things. And the crazy thing is, there have been times where the NHL has rejected someone from going on to the Cup. And at one point, they even X'd someone's name out. They literally, for those who don't know how the names are put on, the same family or company has been doing it for decades upon decades. They have a stencil, basically. The Stanley Cup is made of metal. You have these metal stencils, and they hammer the letter into the cup, one letter by one letter. So it's not done by machine, it's done by hand. So that's why you'll see typos, you'll see uneven lettering, spacing.
They've gotten better at it with technology and things like that. So there's less mistakes.
That makes it more endearing, though.
Well, yeah, but still, it's nice. Like, if you finally get your name on the Stanley Cup, and they put Andre Sagona instead of Andrew Sagona, so unless it's Andres Sagona, it's Sábado Gigante. But in any case, you still want your name spelled correctly. I would think,
Yeah,
anyways,
I get it, but it like Charles said, it's endearing. It makes the already special trophy even more special, because every other trophy, it's a new one is made every year, every competition. There's one, yeah, it's true, the Grey Cup, that's one exception. But, and long story, there are 3 Stanley Cups. I'm not going to dive into that, but there's one Stanley Cup. It's a new one isn't made every year. There's just the one. You don't touch it unless you win it. The players get their day with the cup. For example, Roberto Luongo ate spaghetti out of it. Was it the 24 or the 25 cup?
The 24 one. The 25, he put like those labubus inside of them.
Yeah, you have people eating spaghetti. You have people throwing it off the roof.
Sam Bennett ate Captain Crunch out of it.
I don't recall anything that the Lightning did. Anything?
Didn't they toss it from one boat to another during their parade?
I thought that was Tom Brady throwing the Super Bowl.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. No, that was Gronk. That was Gronk, I think, right? That was Gronk throwing.
Tom, I think, was tossing because he was drunk, and then they had to take him.
Yeah, he was drunk as a skunk. That was impressive. But anyway, the cup is sacred. It is so sacred that it's not even bad luck. It's just you do not touch the cup unless you win it. That's unlike any other trophy. You'll see with the Super Bowl, with the Lombardi Trophy, you see players touching it during the pregame commercials or advertisements for the game. You just don't touch the Stanley Cup. It's that sacred, that special. So to that end, you are putting 6 names on it that have no connection to the team other than you're married or related to the owner. And you're overlooking, you're omitting people that not even arguably do deserve it more. Admitted, he's been with this, I think it was the athletic trainer or some
I think it's one of their
person.
I think it might be their head trainer or something like that. He's been with the team since they moved from Hartford, I think.
And hopefully, thankfully, he got his name on the Cup in 2007, which was the first time that the Hurricanes won the Cup. But to leave him off for a 7-year-old, it's insane, and it speaks to how vain Tom Dundon is. It speaks
Blazers
to
fans
how...
are super worried about it right now about him.
Does the kid even like hockey? Because that's really just like he's gonna get beat.
Probably not. Admittedly, I started following.
He wasn't even around. He wasn't even around for like any of the other playoff series until they got to the Cup final. And I know he just bought the Trailblazers and stuff like that. And he's actually been gutting that team
big time.
And for a lot of that, the old Blazers owner was one of the more generous in the league and was just spending money just to spend money, just to make people comfortable. But Dundon's gone in and slashed pretty much everything down to
you know what?
To the bone.
Good, because I'm still salty over that Dame trade. Okay.
Alrighty. Well, anyways.
So I have, I guess, one more thing to add. I guess it's that Bettman's made a lot of mistakes. Well, it depends on how you view him. I mean, he's done wonders for the game in the Sun Belt. I mean, I guess if you accept Los Angeles, there were really no teams in the southern U.S. until, in Atlanta, but they left pretty quickly. But without Bettman, you arguably don't get the Lightning, you don't get the Panthers, you don't get the Stars to move south from Minnesota, you don't get the Coyotes, you don't get the Sharks, don't get Vegas. I know that's kind of not Sunbelt, but non-traditional warm weather markets, I will put it that way. So he has done a lot to grow the game. I will 100% give him that, 100%. I mean, I probably wouldn't have a hockey team to follow if Florida and Tampa aren't there. But he's made a lot of mistakes too. And I think this is a big one because it sullies the image of the Stanley Cup. It shows that you don't have to do a darn thing. As long as you just know the right person, you can get on the cup. You're basically selling out people's names who can go on the cup. And it's unfortunate that Bettman either didn't check who was going to go on the cup or did check it and let it happen anyway. But I think money talks, BS walks. I would have said the actual quote, but I already used up my curse word.
I mean, you don't have a use on the curse words, Andrew. We just have a counter.
Okay. So money talks, bullshit walks. That quote, I almost feel like that's not a curse word because if used in context, but it's very disappointing that Bettman would either have it would be especially more disappointing if he let it go intentionally, because it's and I know at the end of the day this is really stupid. It's a bunch of letter-shaped indentations on a piece of metal. if you look at it neutrally. But, it's kind of like how Rob Manfred said that the World Series trophy was just a piece of metal when there was the whole controversy with the Astros in 2017. The Stanley Cup is infinitely more sacred than... It doesn't even really have a name. It's the Commissioner's Trophy. I mean, they haven't bothered to name it after anybody. I mean, the Stanley Cup...
I mean, that's... We're going to toe your line there, buddy. Everybody has their own preference in sports. I don't know if you could say one's more important than the other, right? When it comes to championships, just because one's named over another.
I mean, yes, but...
You could say, I like hockey the most. It's a disrespect to hockey, but I don't think you can gauge the Stanley Cup over the Marty Trophy versus the Commissioner Cup versus whatever, because then we all kind of lose because, there's this World Cup thing going on, and that technically trumps everything, or all the sports that are actually multinational trumps everything or international.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not counting like North America.
But I digress.
So the family names on the Stanley Cup is not an unprecedented thing. The Detroit Red Wings, the whole Ilitch family was on there. But and well, there was famously the Edmonton Oilers. The owner put his father's name on the cup, even though his father had no position on the team, and they actually X'd his name off of the cup because of that. I think it was Basil Pocklington. So, but the Ilitch family had their family members in the organization, and the Ilitch family, or at least Mike Ilitch when he was alive, was one of the more generous owners in all of sports when it came to his running his team and also being charitable amongst his community for Little Caesars and all that stuff. And like I said, other teams have done it. The Panthers just recently did it, but this was the most egregious of all because the children that were on the Stanley Cup, I mean, you might make a case for the wife and say she's maybe a part owner, but for the kids, they had no actual position with the team. I think his oldest child is in college right now, so they had no actual running, like any sort of responsibility with the team. So that was the difference with this, and that's why I felt most egregious. And a lot of, I mean, ultimately it's been done, and nobody's going to change it. But who knows if? I mean, I thought there was a sort of with what happened with Pocklington was a rule that hey, you can't have just a person that anybody, but apparently maybe the rules have loosened up a bit since the 80s.
I'll make one last point on that. It's someone had made the point or the argument that the difference between then and now is just how rich the owners have gotten since the father was put on the cup. And with more money comes more clout, more. You don't want to piss them off if you're the commissioner, if you're Bettman or whatnot. And I think that obviously happened before Bettman was in power. So I don't know, maybe he just, for the lack of a better term, has less respect for the integrity of the cup than the commissioner that did get it X'd out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, again, like I said, in the grand scheme of things, not a big issue. There are a lot of bigger issues in the world, but it is still very disappointing if you're a hockey fan.
Maybe to your point, maybe it's a consolation for the fact that the Stanley Cup is the only one of the 4 North American pro sports leagues. It's the only trophy that doesn't get handed directly to the owner at the beginning. So maybe that's the compromise. Hey, but your name will be first, and whoever the hell else you want there as well.
And honestly, it should be that way. No, it should be the way that the captain or some player gets it before the owner. It just doesn't feel right to give it to the owner who, aside from having oodles of money, didn't do anything.
I mean,
the game.
I think
they do. Don't make me defend multi-billionaires, please. There's not enough hot showers.
We're about to have a lockout in baseball, so go ahead, Charles.
Okay, so just to
Cody,
go on to Andrew's
get
point.
on. You're gonna fight Cody Bellinger.
All right, so Andrew, You loved
Yeah.
yourself having Steven Stamkos, right? When he was with
What's
the
that?
Lightning. You loved having Stamkos on the Lightning, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you loved the salary he was getting paid at that part, right?
Where are you going with this?
And you love the fact that he had teammates that are adequate to help you go throughout the Eastern Conference and then also win the Stanley Cups and back-to-backs, correct?
Yes.
And you love the fact that
Where
they
are
were
you
able
going
to
with this,
hire and
Charles?
retain a professional manager of greatness like John Cooper, correct?
I see where you're going with this.
Oh, boy.
And henceforth,
I mean, I agree to a point.
and the person who supplemented that, whether he was full or part ownership, was the owners of the Tampa Bay Lightning, correct?
Yes.
And henceforth,
I mean, I
you would
agree to a
agree
point.
that if he didn't even pay for any of the people that you traded for or you built in or hired, there would be a possibility, a strong possibility, that you would not have that back-to-back, Stanley Cup Finals and even the 2004, correct?
I will give you this. I will give you that.
I feel dirty. Like I'm gonna scratch my face off. But owners have a contribution. The ones who funnel the check. Sports are a small business, right? Or not small business, but I think you guys understand what I mean. There's a startup funder, right?
Yeah.
It's venture capitalism at its finest. They might not have played the game, but for every, and I'm gonna use a basketball terminology here because I don't know enough about hockey to use this example. For every time when you get dummied by doing a Hassan Whiteside kind of pay an extension when they earned it, you get a Bam Adebayo extension. That's perfectly fine because not only you can get somebody who delivers it, you also get somebody who like knocks people in the face when they try to ish. They have a place, because if not, it's all just backyard, baseball and ice hockey that you're chilling with some weird kids in Michigan. They have a contribution. I don't care if they hold the trophy or not first, but they field the team. They make the trades. They pay the people the money.
I won't deny that they do have. You are correct in your point. They do have an impact. I mean, you have.
They make your nice
Jeff
stadium.
Vinnix of the world. You have the.
Public pays for the nice stadium, but
well, I guess the idea is they find a way to fleece the public to pay for the nice stadium. And hey, you need some of
if
those,
Jeffrey Lurie didn't fleece Miami, the Marlins wouldn't still be there. So yeah,
you need a little bit of that, right?
So I mean, yes, I agree.
I'll never
with
forgive
you on that
for this,
point,
Andrew.
as much as
I'm
it kills
never
you.
gonna forgive you. I'm never gonna forgive you.
I'm gonna send this directly to Cody Bellinger.
oh.
But I don't think they should get the cup first. The trophy first. I think the way that the NHL does it is the right way to do it.
I think
that's all I'll say because I don't want to have to defend. I don't want you to have to defend billionaires anymore.
I think some of them are pretty cool. Like I said, like Mike Ilitch when he was the owner. There've been nothing but good stories that came out of him. After he passed away, and what he did for the community, not just for the Tigers and Red Wings, but especially so. And the whole community of Detroit for civil rights and all that stuff. I mean, there's some cool owners out there that you would like to see, like Arthur Blank of the Atlanta Falcons is one of those where the lowest concession prices in the NFL. Like he's just eating the cost for that, just because he wants food to be affordable at the stadium there. So there's some owners where it's like, okay, you know what, fine. I think everybody would feel good about that. But in any case, let's get off the topic now. We are 1 hour in. Andrew, you said you had to go at the top of the hour. It's 9:00. But do you have a non-sponsor?
I'll do my non-sponsor first,
Alrighty.
and then I'll
people,
head
places, things, concepts that we've been enjoying over the last week. Andrew, you have the floor.
My non-sponsor for this week is going to be sweet tomatoes.
It doesn't give you diarrhea?
Remains to be seen. But Sweet Tomatoes has resurrected. It is back from the dead. For those who don't know what Sweet Tomatoes or Soup Plantation, if you were out in California, was a buffet brand, kind of centered on salads and other fresh foods. It wasn't your typical meat and pizza and things like that. It was different. And I was a huge fan of sweet tomatoes. And they were thriving. They were pretty well. They had a lot of locations. But then the pandemic hit. And they were just underwater and couldn't get their head above water. So they had to declare bankruptcy and all their locations shut down. And that was a very sad day for me. But in the past year or so, someone decided to bring it back to life. There are currently, I think, 2 locations in the whole country. I think they're just doing a slow rollout to see how people feel about it. And so far, it's been rave reviews.
One in Arizona and one in Florida.
Yep, the one in Florida is in Fort Myers. I was not able to go into there, but I was down in Fort Myers last week for a green card interview for Francisco's law firm.
Might have to see you back there soon enough, so you might have another chance.
Excellent. But it was PACKED, packed, in all capital letters. It was absolutely packed. And that's wonderful to see, because I would like to go to Sweet Tomatoes without having to drive 3 hours to Fort Myers, which is something I would not normally do. But, green card interviews happen there. I'm happy to help Francisco's
pivot the Checkers franchise and get a Sweet Tomatoes, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, if it works in Fort Myers and it works in, I don't know what city in Arizona.
Probably Phoenix, I'm assuming.
But certainly Fort Myers is not the biggest market in Florida. You have the Tri-County area, we'll say Miami. You have Jacksonville, you have Tampa, you have Orlando. You have 4 much larger markets, and there may be even more that I can't think of off the top of my head. But you have to wonder, if it's successful in Fort Myers and wherever in Arizona, hopefully they'll start introducing them one by one. And if that is the case, I will be very happy, because even though I really enjoy myself from Golden Corral, I am a big salad person. I'm a very big salad person. And it was quite lovely to have Sweet Tomatoes. And I was very sad when it was gone. And I'm very happy that it is back. And I cannot wait to be able to try it out. So that is my non-sponsor Sweet Tomatoes, but also to the company that owns it now, that is bringing it back to life. I say thank you to you. Promo code Salad Bar.
Yep. Nice.
And with that, gentlemen, I bid you adieu. Have a wonderful rest of your show, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
See you, Andrew.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
All right, Charles. What about you? What's been up?
So since Andrew's out, I feel like we're going to talk about games, so I'm going to switch it and pivot it to food.
Okay, what's your non-sponsor? Right. Here we go.
Yeah, I was going to go non-sponsor for a game, but I kind of know where I can put this, so I'll put this. I love chicken. That's how I'm going to start this. I love fried, spicy chicken. And the craze amongst a lot of places are like the Nashville Hots and whatever, like Dave's Hot Chicken, which is just a 5. Love me some Palm Beach Hot Chicken. You've heard me talk about it before, but we tried like 2 weeks ago something called Cluck Face, CLUCK face, and they had what I would call their equivalent of a mountain melt that was just like 10 times better. So let me see if I could just address it real quickly, because I don't remember.
Cluck Face Nashville Hot Chicken.
Yeah. But it wasn't like trash, because they don't rely on everything about just being, and they have it in Boynton if you ever have to kind of pop in there, but they give you your
Boynton
slider,
Beach, Boca Raton, and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. We had the crazy cluck, and the crazy cluck is chopped Nashville chicken tenders layered with mac and cheese, French fries, pickled, drizzled with comeback sauce, and you choose your heat. And I think I chose hot, which was not at all, but it was like the good kind of amount of, like when the ale house had its heyday and everything was like about a amount and you were excited. And now if you go to the ale house, you're like, I guess I'll have a amount. I don't feel like the second part. I feel like the first part when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get Malmo, because it lasted me like 3 meals, man. And then, I went with that, had a slider and tender combo. Because you know me, I'm on a high protein diet right now.
I'm looking right now. So, well, I mean, we kind of have to now because we can't eat vegetables anymore.
So
we're going to get diarrhea.
Yeah, side note, public centers are $8.99, so I just nuked it for a whole. So I just nuked it when I got it. I'm like, I can't, because, I eat salads almost all the time for lunch with a protein bar. Like, I'm on this new nutritional thing just because I'm going to get a little bit more dense and solid, because I always get crazy like that before a birthday. So instead of doing hard cardio, we're just changing nutrition a bit. But this just threw a wrench into it. But this did not. The fries were good. The chicken tenders were good. The mac and cheese was pretty good. And then I had a side of the slider and sides, and we had their like French toast, which was okay. That was the tender and toast combo for $5. You can't beat that. It was a little disappointing because not in the tender, but on the toast, because I want it nice and buttery. But I would do it again. I'll pay extra to DoorDash if I have to go there. They have different varieties of it. I just love when you can get creative with chicken because it's the most versatile food. I was going to put just salad originally because I had it yesterday, but I was like, how am I going to do just salad? And then we're like, wait, what if I just make it into like a Chipotle bowl and I just mix all the stuff? But this came to mind because I like to think I'm the foodie of the group, right? I'll try anything. And I'm hearing like Andrew salivate about Fort Myers. And when I was there back in March, there I was having like the Thai food, which was just so delicious. But they have the crazy cluck, which I had loaded buffalo, loaded rice, triple carb, loaded fries. They have slider combos. They have different flavor varieties.
Looks pretty good. They got that loaded rice. That triple carb looks pretty good, man.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the chicken wasn't, because some chicken tenders are like too watery. Some of them when they do like Nashville hot, it's just more like marinade, if anything. Sometimes it's just like too overdoing a pickle, and sometimes the heat are unreasonable. Dave's Hot Chicken's unreasonable. They're just like, even when I had it on like a medium, I was like, because I tried it again a couple of months ago. I'm like, all right.
There's a smart way to do spicy. That's why I like Korean spicy, like, because I can still taste the flavor. My face is about to explode, but I still have the enjoyment of tasting the food.
Yeah. Well, they have a Korean barbecue slider that I would be interested in as well. Thankfully I'm remote, so I can just stay in the toilet all the time as I do work. It's just, I like creativity. I like when things are not basic in a very basic world. And when you're going out and spending money all the time, you have to kind of pick and choose what is the proper point. So Cluck face, really good, delicious. Thought it was just something I want to try again. I give it like a 7. And my rankings on food, guys, goes to 6. There was something I liked, and it's the only thing I liked, but I'll do it again. 6.5. I liked it. I'll try some other stuff. 7. I already know what I'm getting, but I'm going to get some other stuff and try it out differently. And when you're in that 7 range, you're pretty much in my good graces, unless I get like food poisoning. But then I'll just blame it on this bacteria that RFK Jr. like just disregarded. It'll be okay. So Cluckface, get you some promo code too drunk to cluck. There we go.
All right. Okay. Well, I wanted to pick another video game for this one. Okay. Something I've been playing recently, but I'm just gonna put the series so far because I'm just enjoying just kind of the power trip of it all and just the silliness of it. I'm just gonna go with Serious Sam.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is so relevant to what I sent you yesterday.
Yeah. So the Serious Sam series, I had the first Serious Sam a long time ago when it came out on PC back in like, gosh, the early 2000s. Like, yep. Man, I don't know. I think it came out in 2000 or something like that. I'm gonna go on the Wikipedia here, but yeah, Serious Sam. That's by Crow Team, and it's just dumb fun in that sort of same vein of like Duke Nukem, just those early video game heroes that were just all about being a power trip more than anything else. So FPS game, 2001 was when that game came out. So yeah, I had it on those big box PC releases back in the day. Never played 2, and he had some releases back on like the GameCube and the PS2 and the Xbox as well. But I fell out of the series. It's one of those just dumb series that it's like, okay, this is fun in the early 2000s. What?
I think they introduced time travel in one of them. If memory serves right. Sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's like about alien invasions and all. It's just, the story doesn't really matter. It's all just dumb and stupid. He's just kind of going back in time to like ancient Egypt, and now the second one's like based in like ancient Aztec, all that type of stuff. So it's ancient Central America. So it's just your Serious Sam. You're just this big buff dude that just has a bunch of guns, and you're just shooting down all these weird alien or creatures or what have you. So in these like ancient human and civilization environments that are so that's what it's about. But I have been I replayed the first one, and I replayed that in VR. So I replayed that in VR, and then I bought the entire series because the entire series was on sale for like, I don't know, probably like $5 or $10 or something like that. I'm like, let's get this. This seems dumb and stupid. Let's do it all over again. And I was just like, okay, let's do that. And I really enjoyed the first one again. I'm like, okay, this is dumb fun, and it's still hard. Like if you play anything but the easy mode, it's actually really difficult just because of the waves of enemies that they're sending at you in these games. But I decided to go a little more easy with my my next playthrough, which is Serious Sam 2, Second Encounter. So that's what I am playing at the moment in Devolver Digital's. I got Serious Sam Shatterverse coming out going forward in the future, but just playing Serious Sam in the VR has been a super fun experience again for me. I'm having the time of my life again. Just the power trip of just like shooting and all over the place, and just being able to just gun down a bunch of these enemies and just have a lot of fun with it. You kind of get into the character himself and just start being silly. It's just really dumb fun from way back when you just had these bombastic, power trip guys that just mow down a bunch of enemies, and then Duke Nukem disappeared for quite a long time, and Serious Sam is still here being this quintessential, 90s, early 2000s, like, oh yeah, I'm a big strong guy, I got my big old guns and I'm gonna shoot down the aliens, like that type of thing. So it's fun. And promo code was it Crawleywood. There we go. Crawleywood. Okay. So lots of fun.
Yeah, I mean, those Serious Sams are always fun. I think legitimately we have reached, they call them boomer shooters now. I'm going to tongue in cheek and trademark it now. It's just Pete Hegseth's wet dream, with what he wants with certain people with guns, IT, high testosterone. For those who don't read the news, go and venture off that. This is not a news show, everybody, even though we talk that shade. They're good games. I had sent you like Turbo Overkill yesterday. I went against it because it's going to be $6 again at some point. But I had picked up El Paso elsewhere. And my whole thing is that you do have to support indie games right now, as I'm stuck in like AA and AAA mania with all my stuff. But those I didn't, what did we call them when we were younger? It wasn't boomer shooters. We just called them like dungeon shooters.
Yeah,
that's really what they were.
Everything was just inspired by Doom, so yeah.
But Serious Sam was fun. And I think the irony
Arena
was
shooters, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah. Quake and then Unreal Tournament. But Serious Sam 2, is that actually Serious Sam 2? Isn't like the third one, because they had Serious Sam and
there's Serious Sam 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then they got this new one that's gonna come out.
But they had a wordplay with it. But those games were always fun. I think what people don't realize is because right now they just have a bunch of military shooters even now, and even if it's diluted, it's just the main two. When they had if you're going to call them boomer shooters, there was a proper tiering of it, because you can tell the drop off if it's Battlefield or Call of Duty. Someone tries to get a military shooter, goes out. Right now in modern day gaming, it's the live service games. But with the boomer shooters, I'm just gonna call them dungeon shooters because that's how they were. You had some that were great. You had a lot that were very good. Some were good, and then you had some really poor ones. But you had more variety and more enjoyment versus your military shooters or your live services. Because with the military shooters, like you had Call of Duty and Battlefield, and then like there was Medal of Honor, and that died. And then you had some other subsects, and then that died. From what else they were trying to propel, the third parties or, AA commissions. And then with live services, it's just, if they have Fortnite, everything's just dead. But the shooting games, they have longevity. The boomer shooters or the dungeon shooters, they have longevity, and then you have the capability of playing with it. And that's where like Total Overkill had interest me. But I saw the same thing on sale. The Serious Sam collection, I think, was on the PSN as well.
Yep.
It just depends how you want it. My thing is, just like everything else, I can't have particular games being too long. That's what stopped me a little bit on Turbo Overkill, because I read 12 hours like buddy. But then I realized it would be proper when I have to do like Kingdom Come Deliverance or Unicorn Overlord, when I need that interplay game. Like the game that's in between a long game, because everybody needs that. When you're going to go past anything that's like 40 hours.
That's why I picked Serious Sam. I thought, hey, I got over. I'm still kind of getting over that Death Stranding 2.
How many hours? I watched only part of your speak on it, but you had like 110.
Gosh, something like that. I mean, I could look it up, but yeah, it was 100 something plus hours. Yeah, I did a lot more, or I got through a bunch of the achievements and things like that. Than your initial playthrough of it. I actually did go back to Control too, weirdly enough, because I wanted to play the what?
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you.
Sorry. I wanted to play the Hideo Kojima mission because that wasn't available. It was a PS4 exclusive, and then they finally released it on PC. I'm like, I want to try that, so that's why I went back to that. Also, kind of a short little step it before Control Resonant comes out. So yeah.
So I had tried to go back to Control because I want to see what the updated. There was something that they updated when the PS5 Pro, with the PSSR 2 came out. So I had re-downloaded it. But what I realized is that because I was playing end stage game or end game stages, it wasn't interesting because I had done everything there. Because for those who, I can talk about Control any day of the week. It has some of the best DLC. Has some of the, just some of the most interesting game mechanics and physics out there. We love you, Sam Lake. But it's one of those games.
120 hours in Death Stranding.
That sounds about right. I mean, I only did like 70, but that's because like I was just very invested in seeing it through. The story was much more gripping than the first one to a degree, because the story was good. It's just there was times where it was weird, but because I went through that first weirdness, I understood the second, so I want to see it through. But back to the Control real quickly, is that it's that game where there's post-story missions where you do them and they're just as rewarding because they were giving you some feelers in the beginning game, like the Dr. Avrish or whatever his name is. I can't remember fully because it's been so many years, but you get to see what happens to certain characters that are mentioned or talked about. So yeah, just go play Control, guys. And I did a little bit just to see what Resonant was going to be like, but Resonant's going to be its own animal. And that's only 2 months away, man. Same thing with Wolverine, like the hell I'm doing. But yeah, Serious Sam, it's always a good time. Death Stranding 2, we love it. It's a great game. It was my game of the year last year. I had to give in between that and Astrobot. I said I'm going to pick the game that I was just standing up and applauding for.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? We're at an hour and 20 minutes. We did the first cage for the first time in a long time. Well, we talked a little bit about the diarrhea that's going around all over the place, and how really the Arby's
Stay safe.
The Arby's mac and cheese is probably the most safest food product that you can eat right now. Funny enough, I haven't really gone around vegetables lately because of this. Just been eating cans of tuna fish, in all honesty. Well, Charles, let's talk about the Miami Heat and things that have gone down the last week or so.
Man.
It's been fun.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun.
It really has. And this is how I'll kind of start my segment, and then we'll get to your segment, because I'm the one who has been slaving myself to support that team fandom out of the three of us in basketball, and I haven't enjoyed it to a degree. There's been support throughout like the last 2-3 seasons for me, but you've heard me be like on annoyances. It was sounding very like Yankee-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we already talked about my opinions on the Giannis trade, which he just looks good in that white and red, man. I just gotta say, and I really hope it doesn't blow up in my face. And the same thing with Bobby Portis, but I had mentioned it in the chat earlier. And I'm gonna say it a little bit more graphically on the show. One big trade that seems right makes Pat Riley feel like he took the blue pill, man. Like he's got a little bit extra, vigor in him, right? And he openly flirting about getting LeBron, who's probably going to go to Philly or Golden State or Cleveland, because nothing nice can happen to Miami anymore. Look, I'm just saying right now, if the NBA has the powers to investigate into Gary Trent Jr.'s contract with the Bucks, there's nothing stopping them from doing anything to prevent LeBron from going to South Beach. At this point, they've done so much to screw us over throughout the years anyway, all collective ownerships, my conspiracy theory. But for the moment, I will enjoy the blue pill vigor, because it's not just Pat, but it's certain Bam, but we're going to have to explain Bam differently. We're going to have to use Bam like a comic book, pronunciation with the exclamation point, go, Bam, Emerald Lagasse, Bam, right? That's what he used to say, right? Because that boy, he packed some haymakers. Take away, Francisco. Tell us about your vigor. I have my blue chew. What about you?
Oh, well, so something came out of Las Vegas recently that made me very, very happy, because it kind of sort of vindicated everything I've ever felt about Tyler Hero as a member of the Miami Heat, and how they were just kind of keeping around. Oh, he was the linchpin, and they really needed him to lock it in, and that he was the key piece. Like if we're gonna trade him, we got to get a real big package for him, because he's that valuable. So Bam Adebayo, and it was the NBA Summer League out in Las Vegas, and Tyler Hero and was out there as well, because everyone's gonna kind of get their training in out there too. So incident came out on July 10th that they were kind of hanging out at the Resorts World Casino, and I think Tyler Hero had like an AAU team out there, and then Bam Adebayo was kind of walking over, onto the court, or walking somewhere around there, and then Hero had said something to him, and it seemed that Tyler Hero said something about that the team needed him, right? And then Bam Adebayo kind of casually walked over and then just kind of punched him in the face. No hesitation, just a quick little pop right on the right cheek of his, just below his eye. And of course, people had to get in the way, the security and all that stuff. And then they both left. And then Tyler Hero had to put on some makeup later on, because he was kind of doing like some promos and stuff for, I don't know who he was doing it for. I'm not sure. I don't even think it was the Milwaukee Bucks, but it stems from some sort of jealousy that Bam Adebayo, or not the Bam, but Tyler Hero, and it looks like to an extension Jimmy Butler had for Bam Adebayo getting the big extension and big money from the Miami Heat. Bam was, of course, drafted by the Miami Heat. He was, he is the captain of the team now. He is the one that Udonis Haslem passed the torch over to, with regards to the Heat culture of transferring that from straight from Alonzo Mourning all the way to Dwayne Wade, and then Udonis Haslem, and then Bam was the one that took the torch of instilling Heat culture and keeping that line of attitude that the Miami Heat have about themselves, about their training regimen, their conditioning, the way they go about their business in the NBA, whether they have a team that is made up of a bunch of scrubs or they have some superstars the Heat have their own culture, their own way, and Bam is the proponent of that nowadays. And I guess Tyler Hero had some jealousy that he wasn't the one there, but you got to be on the floor in order to kind of have that title, my dude. And yeah, maybe it was some sort of truth in that. Yes, the Heat did need you, but every time that they needed you, you were sitting your ass on the chair there and not really doing anything. You were just kind of not playing through the pain, which is what Bam and a lot of other Miami Heat players could say about him. And actually, Heat management did not like about Tyler Hero is that he would get injured and he would not come back from injury soon enough, even though it did seem like he was healthy enough to play, but he wouldn't come back until he was 100% healthy. So the Miami Heat had issues with that, and that's not really the Heat way either, because the Miami Heat have had notorious players who've played through a lot of pain and gone through a lot, especially over the course of time.
Wade shaved off his meniscus, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His knees in between just to get back.
Yeah. So Tyler Hero wasn't the proponent of the Heat culture, the Heat way. I don't know why I'm making this comparison, but I guess it's just something that I do know is that the Florida Panthers had a player similar, well, not similar, but a player that they didn't want, that didn't fit with what they were trying to do. That was Jonathan Huberdeau. Panthers traded him for Matthew Tkachuk, and the entire complexion of the team completely changed. It's amazing what one player can do for you and for what you want to instill and how your team wants to conduct its business. And Tyler Hero was not that for the Miami Heat. So Bam Adebayo punching him in the face was like me punching him in the face. It's what we all wanted. It's what I wanted for sure. And over the course of the last few years, Charles, you and I have had the stuff in the group chats about when the Tyler Hero had a good game, and I was just like, and then I never believed it. I never fell into it. I never wanted to believe in him, and I'm glad. I'm glad I never fell into that, because this kind of vindicates everything about this. Now, of course, it's gonna be great, and I would expect the NBA to have a Christmas Day game between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat, because I'd love to see that as their first matchup. But anyways, I'm very happy about it, and very happy with this Heat offseason. It's been fun again. It's actually been a lot of fun to be a Miami Heat fan. It's been a long time, actually. But yeah, this is a great feeling, Charles. It can only get better from here. There's still one more thing, but I don't know. Have you put it out there in the ether, Charles? I know you sort of have, but of what we want.
Two things I gotta say. One, for the record, remember, I never supported Tyler Hero never getting traded. I realized the Dame trade was never going to materialize.
Yeah.
And so, you know what, Tyler? Don't hate me. Here you go.
Nor the KD trade.
Yeah, and he did get that one All-Star season that same time. But he is and always was a defensive liability. Forget health liability. Ooh. It was always defensive liability.
Yeah.
And
which is also not very Heat way.
Yeah, and people don't... If you're not a Heat fan, or if you never got your ass tapped by us before, you never understand what Heat culture is. Heat culture is not like a made-up thing about strict nutrition. We live in South Beach. Heat culture is about hardcore discipline, going hard in practice, staying longer after practice just so you can show it, listening to your coach, respecting your coach. You can be confrontational coach because you grown men, and men are going to talk, but if coach ain't putting you in the lineup because he sees the matchup, you're going to respect it, right? Because Spo is the best coach in the NBA. Nobody else has challenged me on it.
Team USA head coach.
Yeah, when it's your number to call, it's your number to call. It is that team where you can be streaky and have great games, but if the next guy is back from being injured, you're going to sit down. And it's
know your role.
Not fundamental what Tyler was, because even it goes back to Spo and Pat's mentality of, yes, you can score, healthy or not, you can score, but we just want people who are going to elevate other people as well. There's ways you can contribute. That's where there's the assists coming in. That's where the rebounds come in. That's where the metrics of knowing when to pass, even if not going to count as an assist, right, comes in. That's when it's you know, not being, you have to be, they love, this current generation loves a jack of all trades. And if you have to pop out, you have to pop out. That's why Sir Man got, you know, past 80 points, 83, right? You know, coming into it. Just saying, it's the same guy that we're talking about. It's just and people also have to understand too, basketball is in a very disgusting state where we have no choice but to extend people these days. Every team does it.
Yeah.
Every team does it. Because you don't get like the compensatory picks that come into it in MLB or NFL, unless I'm mistaken. So if you're out, you're out. So you rather take it. The problem is because it's the Heat. If Tyler Hero played on the Utah Jazz, we would not have to have suffered Tyler Hero for 2 or 3 additional seasons. But because of the fact that he played for the Miami Heat, because ownerships don't like the Heat, they don't like Mickey, right?
I mean, Mickey's the chairman of
it's gonna change now, baby.
Yeah, it's the chairman of the board of governors in the NBA. Basically, he's the head of all the owners now. So,
gotcha, bitches.
I mean, I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat right now and say, you know, there's a certain player that is nearing retirement and is still looking for a home right now that has expressed that he'd like to own an NBA team at some point. And he had a lot of fun when that was actually the most fun he's ever had, according to him, with the Miami Heat back in those 4 seasons. And Mickey Harrison,
and the greatest Heat player is an owner of a Jazz, so there's not going to be any conflict there.
And now the Heat owner is the head of the NBA owners that can kind of put in a real good word about any ownership group, with Seattle and Las Vegas being the 2 new expansion teams that are still looking for groups and are taking bids. So, LeBron, you could come down to Miami and then Mickey will put in some good words for you.
It's going to legitimately break my heart when he signs elsewhere, because I don't really know what he wants. Even if he or Rich Paul says what he wants, we don't know, because he's Mercuro like that. He's still a little bit of a diva because to prolong certain things. But the thing is, you're the belle of the ball at the end of the day. You're not Helena Troy anymore, but you're Elizabeth II. We expect your longevity. We want you. You bring in so much for us, and it just fits better. Like Cleveland, because people want to say, oh, he wants to go back to Cleveland, made it right. He went back to Cleveland, made it right by getting him a championship. What else does he have to do again? That is storybook work. He made amends with Dan Gilbert after Dan Gilbert. They had people in Cleveland burning his damn jersey, and he made amends. And when you go to Golden State. Yeah, exactly. They might just said some racist stuff, but it's Cubans, man. What can I say?
Those are the Argentinians, and the Cubans.
Yeah, Colombians too, and Dominicans and everything. I'm sorry, it's just how LeBron educate us, teach us to be better. Not me particularly, but Miami people. We don't live there anymore, neither of us. Golden State, it really, he doesn't really care about legacy perception from fan base. I think he cares about legacy perception in a player base, because he's been doing it for so long. But it would really kind of ruin it to me if you have to go team up with Steph and Draymond, and Jimmy. Jimmy would get traded almost in a heartbeat. You can't. There's just too much money in that pot. And then in Philly, the only thing I can say is people are saying, yeah, Philly on paper makes a lot of sense. I'm like, Embiid ain't healthy enough, man. He's never around, and we like Tyrese Maxey, and we like BJ Edgecombe and a few other people, but it's because Nick Nurse is the head coach of the 76ers now.
Yep.
That scares me a little bit, because that's competent, right? I think LeBron wants a competent coach, because don't get me wrong.
Why not the most competent coach?
Yeah, right.
That was with you for the last gold medal there,
Yeah. Well, Nurse is competent, because I think Steve Kerr is competent, but he's also a byproduct of a very good system. Because yes, you got 4 rings, but you also have the benefit of KD for 2 of those rings. They just caught hot on that last ring, where everything was just the perfect storm. With Wiggins is around as well, and They were, because remember, if they had D'Angelo Russell, I think they flipped him, and then they got more assets, and then they went on the run, and they went against a very young, immature Boston team, even though they had like talent, and that's just what led to destruction. But it's more about, I think he wants to be coached right, because JJ Redick, young brilliance you can see from former player, but I don't think LeBron cared too much from it. Darvin Ham was in for penny and for pound, right? No, or was he the one that got fired? No, yeah. Darvin Ham was there. He got fired, and then they fired somebody else again. But then he had originally Frank Vogel. You know what I mean? So it's like he's gone through the ringer of what new coaches would look like, coaches that have been around for a bit, coaches. I think he wants earned equity, right? Sweat equity, as the kids say. And Nurse kind of has that, even though they haven't been perfect in 76ers world, but that's also a bad product of like the GM and what they were doing and how they planned so much for a man who was always injured, and they just took that risk, but they drafted well. It's just the next thing is just Miami. And people are just like, oh, well, Miami doesn't have any. And my mind is like, you guys really don't understand. Like, Spo took a malnourished team twice in the 2020s to the finals, and the gas was run out. Struss, Robinson, Vincent. They didn't just start on the team and we had guys come in. They were playing max minutes and then going over.
G Leaguers.
And we had G Leaguers and two-way contracts, and we had to beg and we had to pray.
I mean,
just to get some dudes.
You saw what because they, well, except for Doug and Robinson, but like Struss and Vincent, when they went off in free agency because now they could get paid, right? Fell off once they left Miami.
Struss was okay. He still averaged like 11 and 8 points per game, so I'll take it. But
Gabe Vincent,
but Vincent just up. But take that away for a second, because we're talking about the good. I had to see a coach deal with the perfect idea of the ultimate pick and pop combo of Goran and Bosch, and then Bosch had the blood clots, right? And then, the games changed, and he had to kind of like marginalize and work with Hassan Whiteside, who had a 1-year great show up, and then had to still keep him into the rotation to justify to the paycheck. Went through the Justice Winslow era, right? Where the wins were low, just mediocrity, no pun intended, but I had to throw it in there. We were dealing with all these things. I could just bring up some of the bad players in my mind by kind of like pushed them to the corner, but that coach stayed consistent. That coach hardly kept anything under 40 wins. And I really think he wants a coach that it's not about like, hey, free ball it. He just wants somebody who's like, well, up the craft, because I think he knows ball. And it's like, I hate to say it, but if Doc Rivers was around, he would consider Doc Rivers, right? He wants those coaches, I feel, that can at least strategize to maximize wins, because sometimes it's not players. Why? Because this man had a deal in 2011 to 2014 with your Shane Battiers, right, coming into it, who had been near the end of the career, but you know how to kind of plug and play and put it from there. And then even at Ray Allen was still a great shooter, but Ray was very marginalized. It's like, people talk about shoot, and I love it. I love the NBA so much because the pundits are now changing their tune from a couple of years ago because they're sitting to talk about it. But this is what I have to say on this, and that's it. Everybody is a shooter in basketball. They're just not a shooter the way that you like your basketball. And when I hear like they need to surround themselves with shooters, well, in today's day and age, where everybody just gets fouled and goes to the line, we got two big men who are going to get you there. If you get Braun, he's definitely going to get you there as he drives the lane. I like kind of what we're seeing from Conwell, but if we're talking about shooters to open up for spacing, they're going to have guys that come into it because they have the deepest scouting department, I would say, that really kind of gets it. It's going to break my damn heart, man. And I'm looking back. I had to just do it from what LeBron left in 2016?
2014.
2014? All right. So there was only one season. We had to deal with Victor Oladipo. We like Vicky, but still.
Yeah.
One season
trying to get back in the game too.
Yeah, where we were under, or two seasons we're under 500. 2014 and 2015, and then 2018 and 2019. Everything else was kind of like levitating up. And there was only a few times where they missed the playoffs. They only missed 3 playoffs because why? We also scout well. We also draft well. We're always stuck in the 14s, right? In that mid range, but we make best do. And maybe he's okay. But I really think he says, all right, I want a coach who's not going to be a drama queen. Because that's the thing about new coaches. When they get hired, the idea is like, oh, well, we want X, Y, Z. And there's a reason why, if you believe the reports, he says Cleveland, Golden State, Philly, and Miami is because they're all established. Kenny Atkinson's established. He got screwed a little bit blackballed in Brooklyn, but he's established.
Mm-hmm.
He got swept, but everybody got swept by the Knicks, so it don't even fucking matter. 5, sorry. Kerr is established, but he's definitely near the end of this game. I think he just wants to end it on a good run. I think he's sick of a lot of the politic and that's coming around. And the other 2 we've talked about they're established. But God, I'm just looking at that 2014-20. We had McRoberts was on that team. My God, it was just so. Yeah, Josh McRoberts, Shabazz Napier. Wade came back for a little bit, but it was just different.
Shabazz Napier. We only drafted him because LeBron made one tweet saying, "I like this kid."
I love me Luol Deng though. I love Luol Deng, but
Luol Deng was established when he came as a free agent. So
I forgot Joe Johnson was on the Heat because he was there for
Joe Johnson was on every team. So
yeah, and then you had Amari Stoudemire and his
Amari was that was just trying to resurrect the career. It's the Miami Heat can fix me up and my knees and
And here's 2 names I pushed away from my brain. I couldn't forget this one because he was the problem with the poison bill. Tyler Johnson, and then Roddy McGruder.
Oh, another terrible Tyler, man. Just get these Tylers off my team.
The double Johnsons. Johnson and Johnson were just... Except for James Johnson.
Every team made a Shetty 2 off-season signing when the NBA salary cap just jumped to $100 billion. So, yeah.
There was probably nothing worse than being a fan in 2016 when we were in law school. It was Luke Babbitt, Goran, we love Goran, Wayne Ellington, UD, but it was UD, different.
The Heat were in a weird spot. They had some awful uniforms, their alternate uniforms were awful before they really hit it with the Vice uniforms. It was bad. It was a bad time.
Williams, Willie Reed. So that's why I say, hey,
the Hassan era.
But to summarize it, Mike, I'm just looking at these things. You look at what they did those 4 years, KZ Apokla. You come in through those 4 years after the fact, 2 finals appearances, man. And we could have beaten LeBron in the Lakers, but Goran, man, just
I know.
All I can say.
And Bam got injured too.
Yeah, but come on, LeBron, make my day. I've been disgusting in the group chats. I feel like Andrew is grimacing. Andrew's going to church to say some prayers for me, going to the synagogue prayers for me because my soul, I've been filthy with you, LeBron.
All right, we're at 1 hour and 44, Charles. I mean, we can wrap this up with a little baseball. I mean, we're past post All-Star break. Home Run Derby happened. Jordan Walker, very impressive performance. I watched that. I didn't watch the actual All-Star game because I couldn't get it on Fox, whatever. I couldn't get it. So, but the Home Run Derby was enjoyable. I like that. Did Ben Rice even make it past the first round? I don't even know.
No, he only hit 7 home runs.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned that to one of my friends where I said, when it comes to, unless you're a judge, when it comes to Yankees and the Home Run Derby, we just blow that a little too early.
Yeah. But very impressive. Nice to see Philly fans disappointed. So that was great. National League was terrible during the All-Star game itself. But that was about it. And that's all I can say about the All-Star game. But we're at midway point. Well, technically a little over the midway point. We're just going to look at the standings real quick here for baseball. We'll kind of give our short thoughts here, and then we'll end the show, Charles. Alrighty. Because we are second half of the season has started. The Phillies are playing the Mets right now, and the Mets are not good for anything. But let me see what the score is at the moment, because I haven't checked, and I need the Phillies to lose, because the Marlins are actually in a playoff race right now, and the Mets are actually useful today because they won and they beat the Phillies today, so that's great. All right, so we'll I guess I'll start in the National League, and then we'll get to the American League. Do it the reverse way this time. The NL West,
I'll
the Dodgers.
One sentence.
But let me know. So the NL West, the Dodgers are just going to win that division because every other team there is disappointing.
Disgusting.
Yeah, Arizona, San Diego, San Francisco, and Colorado. The Rockies are not as awful as they've been in the past, but they are still awful, 10 games under 500. The Giants are disappointing, and the Padres and the Diamondbacks are wild card favorite. I don't know, they're wild card contenders, but they're not going to win that West. NL Central, Milwaukee Brewers are once again regular season merchants. They'll probably win that division unless the Cubs can actually put some things together. But the break came at the right time for Milwaukee because they were on a 3-game losing streak. St. Louis Cardinals are good again, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are surprisingly good again this season. They've scored the most runs in baseball, so they have the best offense.
Not tell you any player but Paul Skeens on a team.
And the Cincinnati Reds have fallen off and are not good, and they'll probably not contend for the rest of the season. They'll be sellers going into this trade deadline.
Well, they just signed Chase Burns for like 7 years, so who knows?
The National League East, the Braves are up 2.5 games over the Philadelphia Phillies, who lost today. The Marlins are 4 games back of the Braves. They got swept at the end by Cleveland, so that kind of dampened things before the All-Star break, but maybe it came at the right time. So they kind of reset there. The Nationals also lost 3 games in a row and are 1 game under 500 right now. And then New York Mets have kind of evened out their losing. They're kind of mediocre now. They're not terrible. So there you go.
They're 16 games under 500. I
mean, but they've evened it out as far as like, not completely awful. just terrible.
I mean, statistically speaking, they're only 3 games up on having the worst record in the entire MLB.
Okay.
To pick on that scat for 2 seconds, I don't know what you do to blow that up.
You can't. Well, actually, they said that everybody's available except for like 5 guys on that team.
But no one wants anybody to put the 5 guys, which is really like 3 guys.
I don't even know
You're not going to trade McLean. You're not going to trade Soto.
Yeah. So, but there you go. That's the National League East. Just once again, I hope the Marlins can actually put it together once they get back here after this break.
This has been a stressful fandom for you this season.
I know.
Is there some real hope?
Yeah, they play Milwaukee to start out, so it's not going to get easy to start at the beginning. But who knows? They're in a bandbox ballpark when they start in Milwaukee, so that'll be interesting. So we'll see. Yeah, this is one of those where, I mean, you saw me in 2023, where every game was a literal heart attack for me, and I was becoming more unhinged as the season went on, and that's going to happen again. So I think everybody should be prepared for me saying some wild things on the Twitter. But as the Marlins get good, so do I, as far as my following is concerned. So I want them to keep going. All right, the American League West, the Texas Rangers are somehow winning that division. They have a negative 15 run differential, and it's just awful. The only team with a positive run differential are the Mariners, and they're 1 game under 500. The Astros are there too, and
the Astros, man,
3 games back and could still win that division. And then the A's have fallen off in Sacramento. They've lost 9 games in a row, so that they're definitely going to be sellers. And the same thing for the Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim. The White Sox are leading the American League Central. I want them to win that division just because they look like a really fun team, and they have some pretty good stories there. Cleveland is there, and then they're always somehow they're kind of like the Rays of the Central. I think every team in the Central is just kind of the Rays, in all honesty, but they're kind of the Rays in the sort of way where they just kind of sort of contend and find a way to hang around despite not spending any money.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland has the likability too that the Rays lack, and I say that because the Rays are in my division. They don't scare me. Junior Caminero scares me.
Yeah, Minnesota is somehow once again the American League is awful.
Very bad.
It's just like
that's why I'm not sweating it.
Like every team is at or near 500, and like, which is, I guess, fine if you like every team could make the playoffs technically. Like nobody's really out of it except like the Royals, the Angels, the A's, and that's it. Everybody else can still make the playoffs in some sort of fashion. The Rays and the Yankees are the only two good teams. And the Yanks came into this on a 4-game winning streak. The Red Sox somehow got hot. And they're still 10 games back of Tampa, but can still make the playoffs because of the wild card and how terrible the rest of the American League is.
It makes you really wonder if they make the playoffs. Because everybody was.
I wanted to roll this Chapman bar. They I don't think they don't have to trade him if they're gonna make the playoffs.
They don't have to trade him, and everybody was talking a lot of crap about them firing. What's his face? Yeah, Alex Cora. And
amazing, he had such a vendetta against him, and now he's gone.
Yeah. Well, just yeah, you don't matter to me anymore. Yeah, I got what I wanted out of it. But the irony, it would kind of prove it. Poor Andrew, because he's not here to see it. It sometimes proves that those who are not on the field or making the calls for the day in and day out of the action, sometimes the front office is smarter. And maybe they were right. Regardless, I think they would have gotten to this position anyway if Cora stayed around. It's just you needed some injuries to line up, and you just baseball's a long sport. It does not demand. I to this day I have talked about it. Where the worst thing that we did was expand the wild cards. Because if you really look who gets in there, the lowest seeded wild card teams barely.
The American League is going to have like 2 teams with losing records.
It feels or just that like 1 game over 500.
Yeah,
it feels like, and it might be them.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, Baltimore has been awful, and they're 2 games back of a wild card spot, and so is Toronto. Toronto's incredibly disappointing as an American League champion, and they are only 2.5 games back of a wild card spot. So. I mean, yeah,
and they're not even that they're scary that they can get hot to a degree, in that sense. I'm looking at the National League wildcard standings, and I could get freaked out by a couple of teams who are out of the last spot. St. Louis, Arizona. They're weird because it's that team that literally has talked about like running on fumes until they got to the World Series.
Yeah, Arizona is one of those. Yeah, they get hot like in late August, and then yeah.
And then even like San Diego, because even though Manny Machado is batting like 187, he has like 22 homers. I'm like, what matters more? Yeah. I'm like, it's baseball. Sometimes we can't care about the batting average because all you need to do is win by 1, right? But yeah, the AL is just a sucker because I've never seen it where they run, because it's still so new in the implementation, but I've never seen where they kind of run the gauntlet. And everybody just wants a participation trophy. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Take it, right?
I mean, yeah. It's one of the more strange seasons I've seen in baseball in a long time, where the National League is full of actual good teams. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Studs
7,
everywhere.
8 teams with 50 plus wins right now. The American League only has 4, and that's it. Surprisingly, Chicago, Cleveland are 2 of those teams, with New York and Tampa as well. And Cleveland doesn't even have a positive run differential either. So some weird things are happening this season. I mean, it will make it fun getting towards the end and this trade deadline is going to get really weird because technically, like, you have so many teams that are in it. Some teams are going to sit there and be like, are we really going to run the gamut here? Are we really going to go in on this season? I think a lot of teams are going to stay pat. I don't think this trade deadline is actually going to be good.
Well, the thing is all the bad teams, like the lower teams that you talked about, there's no one that you really want on that team.
Like, can you trust any pitcher that comes out of Colorado? I don't know. I mean, the Yankees traded for like 5 of those guys in last year, and it didn't really turn out that well.
Right? And he's a good utility man who somehow is an everyday starter. But that's also because Aaron Boone just doesn't put people. It's amazing. Like, 2 seconds on this. Austin Wells is batting like 169, but people forget Ben Rice is actually a catcher as well. And then Cody Bellinger was a first baseman. He could play both infield and outfield, but we don't want to put the best players on the best spots. Damn him to hell.
Yeah, it's because, the philosophy around hitting is that, and I guess teams like the Phillies and they're basically like, to hell with the defense, and we'll figure out how to win as long as we can score runs. But There's a lot of teams, especially in that American League, that they do not score runs very well. There's so many teams with negative run differentials right now.
Well, that's Andrew and I need to be scared about that, because even though we're like in the top 2 essentially, and we have like the Yankees are like, last time I checked, like plus 92 on
plus 91 right now. Yeah,
right now, because I don't know how long Judge is gonna be out. I don't know how Stanton's gonna be out. You're really running it on Rice and Cody, because the other guy, like Jazz, is just gonna be when it feels like it, Homer. McMahon's actually gotten hot with the bat. Same thing with Grisham, but like they could be streaky, and Judge is absent. And then Tampa, it's just Junior. I don't know anybody else who hits as hot as he does or as consistently. And we always talk about it. Bats can get you to the postseason. Pitching is what wins you the postseason. And I feel confident enough, even when Rodon comes back. There's just some pitchers that you're going to take the L on. But he's at least going to give you a chance to win to a degree. He's not going to blow up, right?
Yeah.
To where he's just going to let 5 runs in the first inning. That's the worst. God, I've been there. It is terrible. Rodon is the weakest link of the first 4. Cole's still figuring it out. And we have some cool jobs. It's there. Schlittler, we know what he's getting out of us. And Fried, we just got to see, right? He's injured too. We did have a lot of injuries, but it's really for those is the postseason, because the game changes too, where you can have big bombers, but you just need connectors. You need the guys who can get on base or at least get you some, RBI doubles. And I don't think I have that same issue. But I think also the game's changed too, where we can identify a lot of good pitchers now coming out of the college or coming out of high school and developing. Hitters are so scant because this has just been a very weird year.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the best hitters are like sub 235. And maybe we just have to accept it. Maybe we have to say, listen.
I mean, it's just the metrics have changed now. It's on the OPS now. So,
guys are throwing harder. Wazowski is just disgusting. It's beautiful. Skeens, even though he's having a down year by his standards, is still starter level. Schlittler is just doing fantastic. We're going to always give him his love. But it really comes down to where management's going to look at analytics and like, I don't give a damn if he strikes out 3 times in a game. What can he do at that 4th at-bat or that 1st at-bat? And that is some old school mentality that some of the kids don't know now because they're raised on different analytics or guys. It's funny because it's a regression of like Vladdy Guerrero Jr., who was that kind of player, right? Started out as being a big time hitter, and now he's just like, okay, we got dingers, or we got some hits, but we're not hitting bombs now, and it's weird because Toronto's in that state. But game's gonna change a bit for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting seeing going forward. I think a lot of teams are starting to implement small ball a little more now as pitchers are getting better. You got to find different ways to beat these guys. So that's interesting part of the game that's coming back. Charles, we are at the last minute here. So aside from that, I think I'm done with all the topics for this week. And then we'll be back in a couple weeks. I'm going to be in Texas next week anyway, so I'll have some hopefully some good stories to tell once I'm out there. And that's about it for me. So bye, everybody.
Take care. Come home, LeBron. Watching the Odyssey this weekend on IMAX. Let you guys know how it is, if it's worth it. Bye-bye.